Yeah. Okay. So no, we were talking about meeting Chalie Boy and all that. So
okay, so we're just going town to town, and I'm driving on a daily and just getting consignments in these mom and pop stores.
Yeah.
And that's really just how we built it up. Like, and you put them on consignment, and then because they ain't not gonna buy them, and then when they sell them, they're like, okay, these selling. You know what I mean?
So then it becomes a demand. For
and
them.
it just becomes a demand, and you go and do shows. Like, it's really just the old school grassroots shows, promotion, giving away stuff. We gave away a ton of CDs, a ton of shirts. So it was a true grassroots movement. But then, okay, so I had my stores, and I had the store in College Station. Chalie was from Hearn, and he would come to the store every day. I wasn't working there. My buddy Bernard was working there. And he would just come buy music. He was working at Sanderson Farms, chicken place. And at some point, him and Bernard found out he sang because he sang in the church. Mm-hmm. And so he sent him down. He sounded like he's singing in church now, yeah.
Legend, man. Legendary.
So we're recording one night in my shop. That's what we did it. Like, the shop would be open, and we close the shop, and we just record.
So I was going to ask you what y'all were doing the tape set.
I started on a 4-track analog.
Yeah.
You ever seen the 4-track analog? Just ridiculous.
Tascam or something?
Yeah. Radio Shack mic. Okay. Like, if you listen to old stuff, it just, you just kind of figuring it out.
Yeah.
And the dude come knocking on the door, and I'm like, man, who are you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he said, Bernard sent me. Bernard had never told me. And he's like, I'm Chalie Boy, blah, blah. I was like, all right. Well, he came on in. And he sat down at the back, and he started writing to 85 by the Young Bloods.
Oh, man, I was just listening to that. He killed that shit.
Yeah.
That was his first one?
Well, he did that in Country Grammar the same night.
No shit.
Country Grammar was tough.
And man, he started, and I'm like, and then he started hitting a few of them notes, and I'm just like, oh man, this kid here, and he did it in one take. And everybody in there, it's like 10 people in there, and we looking like nobody knows him. He's a stranger to everybody there.
And he just came in,
killed
the shit.
And I think everybody knew, like, at that moment, because you got to figure Mo was Mo,
right?
And he had a little Nate Dogg in him. You know what I mean? Like, and I think everybody's coming down and whatever, and then he comes in here with this, and everybody's just kind of like, I think everybody just knew, like, that was a game changer.
Was it
like
written?
He was a game changer.
Was it written or freestyle?
Written.
Okay.
Written.
Yeah. Wow, the Young Bloods was the first one.
Yeah.
He did Young Bloods and Country Grammar and maybe one other one on that first one. The tape was called No Holds Barred.
I remember that. Yeah.
And he did those. He did 3, and I mean, he just killed them. And like, I think everybody there was just like, yeah, man, this dude here is different. You know what I mean? Because people was on Mo heavy, like Mo.
Right.
That was around. I mean, we're talking 2000.
That was Mo was in his bag at this point.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so, people were like, I don't think anybody ever thought he sounded like Mo, but of course you just like the
when
harmonies.
You have the person who comes
melodies,
and sings.
That's right.
And we doing the slow down.
It just adds something to it.
Yeah,
it's different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
People look at Mo as probably the OG singer.
For sure.
Yeah. Nah.
And I mean, Chalie himself would tell you. I mean, Mo was a big influence on him. Nate Dogg was a big influence on him. So
yeah.
I mean, that is kind of. But yeah, you hear him rap, and you're like, okay, he rapping. But then he start hitting it a little, and then he go a little higher, and then and you're like, hold on, what is it? We didn't know him.
Yeah.
I mean, I had no idea what to expect from this guy.
Stranger shows up.
He shows up and he's Chalie Boy.
Knocks on the door. Hey man, yeah, Bernard sent me.
Exactly right. Exactly. Well, yeah, I mean, but that's right. But Noah was my man, and I mean, Chalie was. I mean, he was gracious. He didn't come in there like I'm the man or nothing. He just was like.
He showed that one take.
Hey,
he showed us. He showed us.
So y'all just like a crew at this time? It's not really like no real. Are you signing them or like how's that going?
Yeah, nah. I mean, it's still early. We're still just grinding. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we're selling mixtapes and stuff, but. I was always the guy that just turned around and put money right back in.
Yeah.
I was never, let me get a car, or you know what I mean? That wasn't my thing. I was all about just putting it back in and promo.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we kind of got these markets. Let's go a little further. You know what I mean?
Tell me about talk about the Swisha House relationship, because I know y'all kind of linked up early. You know what I mean?
And they showed us a lot of love, all of them. Well, like I said, when I had the stores, I was. It was all these. It was right around the time. I can't tell you the Swisha House history, but in '98, I opened my store. It seemed like the Swisha House was really sort of starting to kind of take hold of the north side for sure. You know what I mean? And so all these people from the north side are coming to Sam Houston. They start coming in asking for Swisha House. You know what I mean? Slim Thug, Lamario, and I knew a little bit, but I didn't know a lot. So I just started researching. Thing is, I knew Watts from way back on the radio.
Yeah.
Cause I he was always a mix show DJ.
Michael 5,000
for the
Watts.
box. Yeah. What's up, Watts? And so obviously they were always very like all you gotta do is get a tape. They gonna have a number on there. So I called a number and I ordered, and I never forget the first time I ordered 100 pieces, and they were gone in like 3 days. And that's when I knew like that's obviously a valuable relationship, but I didn't know they would obviously turn out to be this. But then from then it was just okay. Well, I'm ordering all this music. I've got this group. Let me book them, and we'll open up for them. And so in '99 we did like I don't know 8 or 9 dates with them, just out of my pocket, just booking them in different places, and that worked out real well. And then we got to know them, and then. From coming and doing shows like Pick and Tiger and Mario and even Slim, we just got real cool with them. And then from there, they would come get on our tapes at times. And then, obviously, I would get Slim to get on, a few tapes. And it just, the relationship grew. And you got to figure that's early 2000s. And, by the mid 2000s, everything had blown up. So it was a pretty short little period of time there.
Yeah. So,
but great relationship, and they always showed us love. Always, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Real quick, who is because the Chalie Boy and Tight Greatest Hits is like a classic amongst like me and a certain group of my friends. You know what I'm saying?
People,
like we played that shit, man. I can't tell you, bro. Like, man, we ran that shit till it couldn't play no more. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Who was Tight?
He went to Sam.
Sam has some shit going on.
Dog, Sam was live, dog.
Y'all sleeping.
Yeah.
A lot of people sleep on Sam, dog.
They do.
Like, you think, oh, it's Huntsville, Texas, it? Nah.
And look here.
You couldn't have told me about no Sam.
Hey, the Huntsville that's...
You missed out.
Yeah, the Huntsville that's now was not the Huntsville that we talking about.
That's
You know
exactly
what I'm
right.
saying?
And a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah,
And I
man.
hate to make it sound this way, but Sam Houston is way nicer now. It's more expensive now.
Right.
It's harder to get in now. But back then, I knew people that would come and they'd get the financial aid till they couldn't, and then they just go back home. You know what I mean?
For
But
real.
they would be in school. So that's the kind of. I'm not saying everybody was like that,
But it was a gang of people like that.
some of
You
the
right.
people were like
Right.
that. You know what I mean? So they didn't have a good time. So there was a lot of that going on.
It was a vibe.
Yeah,
It was for sure. bro.
definitely.
Yeah.
So he was actually from Bryan, and he went to Sam, and we just sort of just kind of. We got cool. I can't remember how we got cool, but we just sort of just started. A person would come in and they rap, and then they go somewhere else, and then you know what I mean. Like, and before you know it, you just kind of got you a little centralized crew. So we had Chalie and Tight, Lil Show, Big Red, Big Ake, Sir Coop, and the Rhino. It was 7 of them. It was 7 of them.
Shout out
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
And so that's the kind of the crew we, you kind of finalize it, and then you kind of move forward with that. And then we would feature all kind of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you had a studio set up?
Yeah. In my CD store, what we would do is, when the store was closed, it was right there on Sam Houston Avenue, and we'd pull the shades down, and it just turned into a studio.
Okay.
It wasn't great. We had like a Radio Shack mic, and it's like I told Donnie, we had a 4-track analog, actual cassette. And I don't know if have you ever worked on analog?
Yeah.
You can punch on it, but
Yeah.
it's so bizarre punching on a cassette deck. It's
Yeah.
like old school pause tapes.
Yeah.
But that's what it was, man.
Made it happen.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Nah, that's what's up. Okay, so yeah, moving and everything's going. Where's like some of where's probably the furthest y'all went when y'all on that scene before y'all popping, when y'all on the underground scene?
Well, the
how far
weird
did the
thing
music take
was,
y'all?
in the early 2000s, the mid 2000s, they're strange little pockets. Like, and most of the time they're military affiliated. So we had stores. I had stores in California. I can't tell you the exact places, but if you name some military bases, I could tell you that. We had Norfolk, Virginia. We had Ohio was really hot on Texas music. And then about midway through, when Mike Jones came in, that's when he just blew it open. You know what I mean? But it was just strange little pockets. Florida, Alabama. The stuff kind of traveled. Obviously, you got Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas. Those are the main places we were going at that point. And then actually, the Texas thing of, I don't know, 04 or whenever it was, it just opened everything up for everybody.
I was still doing tapes.
Yeah.
And that's that was my next point was going to be, was that, like Swisha House kind of turned into the label and went that route, and y'all was still feeding that crowd.
Exactly right. And that helped us a lot too, because while they're busy selling millions of records,
y'all killing
Watts
the
ain't got
underground.
time to do that. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're able to kind of slide into that slot. And even if it ain't about the flows, it's about what songs you put on the mixtapes.
Right.
People buy for the songs as much as, and then they hear your artist, and it just kind of promotes it that way. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
and we had made an album in 02, Off the Chain, and it did real well, and we traveled the country promoting it. But
who'd y'all go through? Southwest?
Gonzalez.
Okay.
Because at the time, Southwest, that was at the tricky little time when, I don't remember when they actually went out of business, but there was a time when I remember somebody told me this. One day they took consignment on a whole bunch of records, and the next day they were out of business, and they owed invoices in like the, Yeah. And we're talking indies. We're talking the people that we know and love are owed hundreds of thousands of dollars for copies they sold. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking down on them. I don't know how they resolved that, but that was a blow, man.
Yeah.
It was a blow from a distribution standpoint and also from a money standpoint.
Right.
Because if you're expecting a check, and not only you don't get that check, but your distribution closed down, that
right. It
hurts
not
a
only
lot.
are you not getting that check, you ain't getting no more checks.
That's true. You got to figure out what your next move is. You know what I mean? So
yeah, now the Southwest Wholesale story is wild, because I forgot who was at. It was a D-Rec might have came and told us how he called. It was like next day. You know what I'm saying? Come get your shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and I mean, you go from you rolling to all of a sudden you got to figure out, like, well, am I gonna go use Gonzalez or am I gonna go use Selecto Hits in Memphis? You know what I mean? Like, you got to figure out something else.
Yeah.
So
Selecto Hits, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that was the thing about record stores too. When you turn around, because when I say Selecto Hits, I'm thinking about me seeing that shit. You turn your CD around, you turn your tape around or whatever. You see the logo on there and shit. But